Welcome to this very special interview on the Black and Gold Banneret podcast. I have with me women's golf coach Emily Marron. Coach, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks, Bryson. How are you?
I'm doing great, doing great. So I guess I want to go ahead and start with how is the kind of the team doing? You got your home match of the season coming up, the first of 2022, this upcoming weekend on February 6th, the Eagle Creek Golf Club. How's kind of the vibe going into this?
Yeah, it's an exciting week. This is our only home tournament of the year. So to have 17 other schools come here on our home course, it's a lot of fun, a lot of work, but we're looking forward to it. And the weather looks to be great. So that was a concern of last weekend. It was a little cold. So I know all these teams will be happy to be here in Florida and enjoying the good weather.
All right. So looking at where you guys left off in the fall, you guys, as a team, at least, you guys seem to be breaking into the top 25-ish. You guys are ranked 25 in the coaches poll, 27 by Golf Week, and 22 by Golf Stats. So what do you think? What do you think happened this fall? Like, at least as far as from your perspective, that helped this team get to the position it's in now, and what do you think it has to do to move higher going forward into the spring?
Yeah, obviously we have some players that have surprised us a little bit. And one was Zoe Alou, our freshman coming from France. Because of COVID, I didn't get to recruit her really, or Steve, we didn't see her play. So it was a little unexpected what Zoe was going to do, but I think she has added a lot to our lineup. Obviously, she tied the school record in the fall, and just was that kind of extra power that we needed to get into the top 25. I said this summer to Steve in the office, I'd say, I'm tired of kind of just being top 40. We want to make that press into the top 20 and the top 10, and that just takes consistency across the board. We also started working out more. I thought that was something towards the end of last year. I could see our team getting fatigued and tired. So, we amped up our workouts. We, went from 2 days a week to 3 days a week in the weight room, and just small changes like that. We also implemented more of a worksheet type of practice, where this is the first time this past fall where I literally type up worksheet practices and they have to do exactly that. So there's little things here and there that we've tried to amp up that I think have made us just a little bit better. It's so small, right, in golf, that difference between being top 40 and being top 20 and then to be in top 10. So every little thing counts.
You talk about Zoe Alou, and she ended up really bursting onto the scene, tying the single season or the single round record for lowest round. What was it like during that match to see a freshman go and do that? And what does that say to you about her development?
Yeah, like I said, Zoe, literally the first time she was ever in the United States is when I picked her up at the airport in August, and I had never met her. She had never been to the United States. So we had no expectations for Zoe. And, she's obviously tremendous talent, but she's just been that kind of spirit we need on the team too. Everybody loves her. She's a great kid, easygoing. But as a coach too, I have to learn her styles a little bit. That actual tournament where she shot 65, we joke with her prior to the day leading up to the practice round. We got there, everybody's practicing, and Zoe was sitting on a bench, and she's like, I don't need to hit balls. And I thought, okay, I don't know her that well, so let's see. And she just knows what she needs to do. She's a very unique player, but her fundamentals are so good. She's such a good ball striker, but she's not somebody who wants to go out and practice for 7-8 hours. But she knows that, like, she knows her game really well. But we had to learn that. I mean, as a coach, to sit there and say, okay, this girl needs a day to kind of rest or needs some time. I didn't push her and say, no, get up here and hit balls. It was one of those things where I was like, let's see. And, she goes out and shoots 65. So, in golf, it's so important that it's an individual sport. So they all know kind of what they need and when they need to push a little bit. But she's a really good player that I think that will be one of our key components to the lineup this spring.
Speaking of freshmen, Victoria Levi has now joined the team. I don't know when she'll make her Knights debut. I don't know when you have plans for that. But what are your plans for her going into this season? And what have you seen out of her so far? Because I imagine she hasn't been here that long. So what have you seen from her, and what could we see from her this season?
She's another COVID kid, as we called them. We hadn't seen her play either because we couldn't get over to Europe to recruit. So, she's only been here with us 3 or 4 weeks, and it takes a little bit. That transition sometimes is a little bit harder for others. first round wasn't so great, but now we've seen her kind of getting adjusted. And like I say, there's a lot to go into playing great golf, of being comfortable here and learning our system and school and just everything that goes into it. So I think she'll be okay. It's hard as a freshman to come in midway through the season and try to get into a lineup that's 22nd in the country. But I think that she could be, by the end of the season, probably right there, whether she's playing 5 or she's our sub at NCAAs. We're actually just at lunch talking about that. That's our goal, is, NCAAs, and learning who can be in the lineup for conference, regionals, nationals. Of course, these tournaments are important, but we're kind of building the lineup to see who are we going to play at conference, who are we going to play at regionals, who's going to be the national championship. And obviously Victoria, she could be in that. We just need to get her some experience quickly. When you miss out on the fall season, and this week is going to be her first college tournament ever. So, we'll see how she does. She'll probably play as an individual for us this week. And then we'll just kind of see from there if she can step up and make the lineup by the end of the year.
Yeah, you talk about like building the lineup for these big tournaments. And one thing that, like, for golf and in comparison to other sports that UCF has, is that you guys don't really have a lot of chances to compete before you go to the conference championship. I'm looking at the schedule now. You have the UCF Challenge, the Moon Golf Invitational in Melbourne, Gainesville, Briars Creek, and the Brickyard Collegiate in Macon. That is only 5 tournaments before the American Athletic Conference Championship in Pinehurst, North Carolina. So can you talk about, like, being in a sport where you don't really have as many chances as others to really figure out your game and how to prepare for that all important conference tournament?
Yeah, golf's a little bit different. Although we only have 5 tournaments, I guess we have tournaments that are 3 days long. So it's not like one soccer game or one basketball game. We go and you're getting 3 rounds in of competitive golf. And we strategize of having a couple weeks off and giving them time to rest and building to the postseason. So, that's the goal. Every team kind of plays 4 or 5 tournaments in the spring, and then you lead into conference where, we think, we should have a really good chance to win conference. I'm not saying we should win conference, but we'll probably go in the highest seed. We should be, the best team in the American Conference. But that doesn't really mean much. We've seen that, year after year, the team that's sometimes the highest ranked in the conference, it's who's best on those 3 days. So we played the course last year at Pinehurst. It's the same course, and we have some girls who played there. So, I know our seniors really won a conference championship. They've been to the national championship, but they've never won a conference. So that would be special for them. So we have some big goals for the rest of the spring.
Yeah, speaking of those seniors, Anna Laura Collado and Alyssa Lamoureux, looking back at their fall statistics, they seem to go through a little bit of struggles on the course or over the course of the fall. So can you talk about, like, kind of what was going on with them in the fall, and maybe what they could improve, how they could improve their scores going into the spring?
Yeah, and if you look statistically, maybe Anna Laura, the thing with Anna, she's a 5th year and she's in the DeVos school, and school was a lot for her, and she'll even admit that. She was very overwhelmed with the coursework and how much she had to be away from golf and didn't practice as much. And now it's funny, Anna Laura, we're finishing qualifying this week. She's going to be in the lineup next week at the UCF Challenge. She's probably playing number 2 for us. So I think she's settled into her 5th year a little bit more, has kind of a better grasp of school and her time management. Alyssa, she's probably playing about the same. It's just the fact that we say, our job as coaches is to recruit players that are better than the ones we have. And that's just reality. And Zoe came in and she's taken a spot. And that's what we say to our players. Next year, we get 2 more players in. They're going to be already in the lineup. So you have to continue to work on your game and get better and develop. And if not, we're recruiting younger players that come up hungry. And, it's tough when you're a senior. I think that you think, this is my last home tournament. This is my last conference championship. You have a lot of emotional stuff going on too, as a senior versus a freshman who comes in, doesn't even know what the American Conference is. So that's my job, is to kind of keep them a little bit balanced. And I just had a talk with Alyssa yesterday. Let's just worry about day by day. Let's not worry about the whole big picture of, this is my last tournament. This is my last year. So seniors, sometimes it's a little hard because they get emotional and it's their last farewell and they want to go out on top.
So you talked about how you expect or have a solid prediction that UCF will go into the American Conference Championship at the highest seed. And what I've seen a lot of nationals talk about, looking at the rankings and looking at the NCAA preview, they mentioned Camille Banzette as
Mhm.
you guys' highest ranked player. So can you talk about can you talk about Banzette's fall and what contributes to the accolades that she has been receiving?
Yeah, Cam's another player who, if you would have looked to statistically last year versus this year, I mean, I think she's ranked 60th in the country. She works harder than anybody that we have on the team. I mean, Cam's very focused. She's very disciplined, and I think she has some high goals this year. So she was another one who, came in last year playing maybe 4 or 5 for us, and now she's basically our number 2 player and only getting better. So, we got that French power with Cam and Zoe that came in, and they were kind of our dark horses that came in and really put a extra firepower in the lineup. And what's really cool, these girls that we've got in the lineup, any of them can shoot under par, and that's what it takes. I mean, we've got 5 girls that if they're all clicking on the right day, they can all shoot 67, 68, and that's what it takes to compete with these teams that are top 10 in the country.
Yeah, and Tenrata Pitton really managed to do that at the EV Odom Invitational. I have it right here. She managed to she managed to be the 4th ever player in program history to get an individual victory. She broke the lowest 54 hole score in school history by 3 strokes. And can you just talk about that weekend at the EV Odom Invitational and what happened with Tenrata that weekend to get her to where she is now, and what do you think we could see from her this spring?
Yeah, we call her Pat. That's her nickname. In Thailand, they all have nicknames, so she goes by Pat. It's funny with Pat. I say that Zoe and Cam were a surprise. Pat's never a surprise to us. She's so good. She's so consistent. I actually had a talk with Pat prior to Princess Anne. I had her in the office, and I just kind of told her she needs to make that little extra push. I could kind of see she has a very calm demeanor. She never gets upset, never gets emotional, and that's a good thing. But every once in a while, you have to light that fire and say, Pat, I told her, I said, you can win this tournament. Go win. You've got to push a little bit and expect to win. Because I think she probably was like the highest ranked player in the field. And if she goes to the American Conference Championship, she will be ranked number 1. So she has to have that little bit. And like I said, her strength is she kind of stays calm and doesn't show much of emotion. But I think maybe that's my job a little bit, to get her motivated and kind of spur her on and say, hey, come on, you got to push a little bit. And she's fantastic. I mean, fundamentally, she's so good. If you watch her play, you think, how does she ever shoot over par ever? She's so consistent. So, I mean, like I said, you're never surprised if Pat wins. She won 2 tournaments her freshman year. She won the Vanderbilt tournament and another SEC event at Florida. So her freshman year started off so strong, and then COVID came, and obviously we all went home. She didn't come back that fall. She came back last spring. So she's just kind of starting back where she left off her freshman year.
All right, and might as well go ahead and complete the set. Noticed that Jess Baker has really improved her scores over the course of the fall. So how has her development been going, and what could we see out of her this spring?
Yeah, Jess is a really powerful player. She's probably our longest hitter on the team. Just tremendous power. We've just worked really hard with Jess, like 100 yards and in. She had to get better with wedging around the greens, and she admitted that too. So that she went home this summer. She put in the work with her coach back home. Came here this fall, almost a different player inside of 100 yards, and is just more confident now. So I think that she's such a great power player that if she can get that short game down again, for her to shoot over par ever is probably a surprise, because she's so powerful. And any golf course, for her, she's hitting 2 or 3 clubs less than everybody else. And they're just great together. I've said that from the beginning. We have like 7 really solid people, and that's the other thing. I mean, you can't do this just with talent alone. You have to have some really solid people and supporting each other, and there's a lot to it that goes into success at this level. So we're excited about what we have.
Well, you're about to go up. Well, you're about to go up into another level very soon with UCF entering the Big 12 conference in the very near future. Can you talk about what you expect going into that, even if it's a little bit far away, and how you could maybe expect things to change once that transition happens?
It's exciting. I mean, going to the Big 12, obviously we're all excited about that. For golf, it's a little different in the sense we don't play a conference schedule on a regular basis. We only have a conference championship. But the Big 12 is a really strong women's golf conference with Texas and Oklahoma State, Baylor. I think we have probably 4 or 5 teams in the top 25. So we know we have to up everything from our recruiting has to get a little bit stronger, our facilities, everything here. And we're excited. I think we've been telling recruits, hey, we're going to a different conference, which again, doesn't mean a lot for us in golf, and we don't change our goals at all. But I think to be able to go into a conference that's so top heavy in women's golf is exciting.
All right. Well, so I guess I'll wrap this up. So going into this season, you mentioned on Twitter how the UCF women's golf account hasn't gotten verified yet, and I think part of it in this, I guess, in the sense is initiation of people not really, I guess, recognizing the sport as much as like say other sports. So going into this season, what do you suppose you looking for the team in order to get that, in order to succeed, and what do you expect from this team going into this season? What are you looking to do?
Yeah, I think big things. We don't want to sit here and speculate, but if we keep doing what we do best and work on our attitudes, our effort, our preparation, I really think we can get to the finals again and make match play. I mean, I say it to Steve, and I told the team, they all think I'm probably crazy, but I think we could win a national championship. And I'm not here saying you should put that out on social media, but we saw Ole Miss last year win women's golf national championship. And I think they're ranked 18th or 19th. Nobody expected Ole Miss to win, but our format that we have now with match play, if you can get to match play, you have a chance to win. And I don't like the format, by the way. I think it should just be stroke play, which it has for years. And we went to match play 4 or 5 years ago. And the number one team or number two team, I don't think has ever won. It's teams that come from behind, because match play is just so different. We don't play match play all year. But if we get to the national championship, and with this group, you have that firepower that you could make the top 8 to get into match play, you never know. So, it's a big goal, and we throw it out there and we just try to have fun with it. But, obviously we want to win a conference championship. We want to go to regionals in advance. And this year, for the first time, the women's golf championship has moved to the format of men's. We have 6 regionals, only 4 teams from each region will advance. And that's different than the years past. So it doesn't make it harder. It's about the same percentages to get through, but instead of 6 teams making it through, 4 teams make it. So it's a little different that way. So we know, Florida State's hosting, Stanford's hosting a regional. There's a lot of these regionals that the host school more than likely will make it through because it's their home course. So then you only have 3 teams at each region that will make it through if you look at it that way. So you've got to play well, and you should. To get to a national championship, you have to play well in any sport. So that's what we're aiming to do.
Speaking of your home golf course, that's where you're going to open your spring season. So can you just talk about Eagle Creek Golf Club and what about it might give your team the edge in going into this first tournament of 2022?
Teams love coming to Eagle Creek to start their spring season. It's I shouldn't say easy. It's just there's not a lot of anxiety provoking shots out there. There's not a lot of out of bounds. There's not a lot of water. So you can kind of grip it and rip it out there, and the power players do better, but it's not a tight golf course. It's kind of linksy style almost. And the only defense that course has is kind of wind. If it gets windy and cold, it plays a little tough. But we had a girl, I think 1 year from Tulane, shot 29 on the front 9. You can go out there and shoot 66, 67. So I think teams really enjoy coming here. You're not going to shoot a high score more than likely. So, but for us, we know you got to make birdies. You've got to just put the medal down right away. You can't go out there and just be playing for pars. We have to be playing for birdies. And we've been playing it for the last 3 weeks. They've been playing really well. So we'll see.
All right. Well, good luck this weekend, and good luck for this season. I think this team certainly looks locked in and ready to go, and I'm excited to follow you guys and how things ends up turning out. So, Coach,
are you going to help us get verified on Twitter?
I really hope so. We'll have to add verify. We have to make
sure. I don't even know what that means. Somebody said that I was verified on Twitter. I'm like, I don't even know what that means.
I think it just basically means, I think it's just so that it's just a stamp of approval, so that way people don't steal your identity on Twitter, which is weird because almost every other UCF athletic team is verified on Twitter, and not the women's golf team, which I find quite odd. So if you're looking to fix it, then I am certainly on that team.
Maybe I need to start like tracking Elon Musk flights or something like that.
Maybe I would add verified or something. I would probably do that.
He would pick us. We could use a fundraising, we could use that money. Yeah,
I would
Elon to give us some money. Yeah.
I would say so. Yeah, we gotta. Yeah, hopefully we can get. Hopefully a bunch of us can get on that, because that's something that we really hope gets to be a thing soon. So, Coach, thank you so much for joining us today, and best of luck.
Yeah, we really appreciate your support. Thanks so much.